What is it that I can do? Well, I'm gonna be partisan as well, because they not being partisan. The Republicans could have shown up today too. They didn't. So let me be clear, I am going to be full on partisan. You have to vote. If you care about this, you have to vote, and you have to understand who is fighting for you. I've been smiling probably more than I am supposed to as I've sat here, because y'all bring me so much joy. And let me tell you why. The reason is this. It's because in spite or despite this incompetent government, y'all have not backed down. For some people, it is the very first time that they're seeing your faces, but you have been there when no cameras are rolling. You have been there for decades, and you are still showing up. The reality is that you are not a child in this moment, but you know that other children are potentially being subjected to something similar in this exact moment. And it is your courage that is contagious. We don't have that, unfortunately, in Congress. We got a bunch of cowards. But your courage is contagious. Think about it this way. One of the things that I really want to clarify, because I have had an opportunity to hear some of your stories and meet with some of you in person and behind closed doors, a lot of people who potentially are not on the right side of history right now, one of the common questions that they ask is, how is it that this could have happened to so many people, yet when you were going through your experience, you failed to see anybody else or know anything else, and you thought that you were all alone? And I know that that is something you have told me directly. So for the people that are watching, and they're hearing numbers like, man, thousands of girls, but at the same time, they're hearing, you know what, I never saw anything else. Whoever feels most comfortable, if you will, because for me, I don't think that I have that much confidence in the government overall doing what's right for the right reason, but it is the pressure from outside. It is you going out there and being courageous that has made the people rise up. That is why we were able to get some kind of movement. And so I want to build more allies for this movement right now. So if any of you would like to answer that question.
Thank you for that, first of all. But I think it starts with our young people knowing that they need to speak up. Because for me, I think I was pit against a friend of mine that went together to Jeffrey the first time, and he was very good at using the manipulation to hold us there. And so I felt like I couldn't tell anybody, and I didn't tell anybody. So I think it starts with the youngest, if an experience feels off, to have a young person speak out and talk to even just a friend about that, and then say to that friend, hey, is this happening to you? Then the two of them can talk to an adult, and then we're already making change because we're already taking it out of the dark. I think the secrecy was the hardest part in my own abuse, and meeting all of the survivor sisters in September absolutely changed my whole life. And so I do think if you can find community and if you can find the people who boost you, it's really important, but it starts with our youngest survivors.
Thank you so much for that. And
Donald Trump has to be removed from office. He is a pedophile. He should be held accountable. He should be in jail.
And in fact, you brought up young survivors. A quick question that I have for each of you is, do you believe that a child has the ability to consent to sex?
No.
Okay. Interestingly enough, most of the time our laws, whether they're state or federal, acknowledge that as well. But I have a transcript and I won't go through it, but it relates to the case that stemmed out of here where they were trying to make it seem as if a child victim was a criminal. That was the focus of their questioning. So it is so frustrating because literally when I was in the state house in Texas, this is one of the things that I actually worked on, was making sure we changed the actual language in the code, specifically as we talked about child victims. So that brings me to kind of where we are on the federal level. And I'm gonna wrap up because of the time. I wanna make sure we stay on time. My colleagues are nicer than I am. I'm gonna be real. They've used words like cover up, choice, for me, it's obstruction of justice. It's real clear. And that's just the lawyer in me. This is pure obstruction. Anyone else that would engage in this type of behavior would be charged with obstruction of justice, yet somehow, because it's the Department of Justice, the ones that are supposed to enforce justice and law in this country, we're not calling it a thing, but that's what it is. And so it is my hope that we understand that while these survivors have taken the time to come out, and some of them were outed unlawfully, and absolutely need to have some semblance of justice because of that illegal outing, because our law was very clear, to be clear about that. I need people to understand that we all have a role to play. People in this moment keep asking, what is it that I can do? Well, I'm gonna be partisan as well, because they not being partisan. The Republicans could have shown up today too. They didn't. So let me be clear, I am going to be full on partisan. You have to vote. If you care about this, you have to vote, and you have to understand who is fighting for you. There are certain things that were always a basic kind of standard in this country for what was right. We protected the most vulnerable amongst us. We're not doing that nowadays. We made sure that we believed in quote unquote law and order, but we're not doing that nowadays. It is time to wake up. It is time.
I do not understand, like, if it was any other country, today you would have seen some politician in jail. But in the States, looks like that is not happening. This is a travesty of justice, 100% in the States, because they need to be locked up. Those criminals, those pedophiles, they all need to be locked up, and they need to be held accountable first, obviously. But we are not seeing that happening, and this is creating a lot of problem in the society. People are really confused. Laws are applied to certain people. It doesn't apply to all. Unbelievable. Hope that will change. Subscribe for more videos.